Today, our reading lesson is going to be about drawing conclusions. So what we do when we draw conclusions is we start with looking at information from our text. So that would be anything that you're reading, anything that stands out to you as certain information that will give you clues. The other thing that we look for when we draw conclusions is what we already know. So things from your real life that you already know that might help you figure out what's going to happen is also part of the equation. So if you take what you've read from the text and what you already know, you're going to draw a conclusion about what you think is going to happen in the text. Aside from drawing conclusions when reading, you guys draw conclusions every day when you're here at school or when you're at home. It's something that you naturally do. Let's look at a few examples. This one happens every day, especially when it's raining. My class looks out the window to see if the other kids are on the playground. If they are on the playground, my kids use the clue that they see kids playing on the playground, and they know that when the third grade is outside, that means we go outside. So they draw the conclusion that today we'll be having outside recess. It also works in reverse. If my kids look out the window and they see that there is nobody on the playground and they know that it's raining, and in real life they know that we don't go outside when it's raining, they will probably draw the conclusion that we will not go outside because the third grade did not. Another time you might draw a conclusion is if you walked into a movie and saw a scene like this. What you can see from the evidence in the picture is that there are some ladies crying. Looks like they're in a movie theater. What you know from real life is that sometimes girls, cry during movies that are sad or romantic. So you might draw a conclusion that these people are watching a romantic movie. Based on the man's expression, it seems like he's probably not that into the movie. Another time that you would naturally draw a conclusion might be if you turn on your favorite team's basketball game and you see a scene like this. What you can see in the picture is that Kevin Durant here looks like he is not wearing his jersey, looks like he has a boot on his foot. What you know from real life is that people who injure their ankle or foot might wear a boot. You also know from real life that people can't play in a game if they have an injured foot. So the conclusion that you might draw here is that Kevin Durant will not be playing in tonight's game. So drawing conclusions is not just something that's focused in reading. You do it all the time, every day. But it's also a skill that we do use in reading to help us understand our text better. So let's go ahead and look at a few examples of ways that you might draw a conclusion while you're reading. Here are some short pieces of text. We are going to use these to draw conclusions. So let's read the first one. You are visiting a friend in Vermont. It is February and the temperature is about 30 degrees. The clouds are low and dark. You've helped bring in plenty of firewood for the fireplace. Your friend's father is going to buy some extra food and salt for the driveway. The weatherman is forecasting, If you look at your clues here, you probably are going to be able to determine what the weatherman is forecasting. We know it's 30 degrees out. That's an important clue. That tells us that it's cold enough to freeze. We can see that the clouds are low and dark. It seems like something's coming, some sort of storm. Plenty of wood for the fireplace. Seems like it's going to be cold. Extra food and salt. Well, I know from whenever we have big snows at our house, I always make sure I have plenty of food and salt for the driveway. So if I put all these together with what I know from real life, my guess is that our weatherman is probably forecasting snow. Okay, let's try one more together. This next story says Abby has her backpack on her bed. She's packing for a trip. She lays out a waterproof jacket and rain hat, extra socks, a flashlight, compass, binoculars, and a water bottle. She hunts for extra batteries and decides to bring her camera. She checks on her sleeping bag and helps her parents bring out the tent. Abby and her parents are going... Well, if we look at our clues here in this story, we can see some important things. I know she's taking her backpack. She's putting a waterproof jacket, a rain hat, extra socks, a flashlight, a compass, binoculars, and a water bottle. She's looking for batteries, wants to take her camera, and this one's a huge clue for me. She takes a sleeping bag and a tent. Those aren't things that I normally take on vacation unless I'm going camping. So my conclusion is that Abby is going camping. Okay, so you've had a little bit of time to see how people draw conclusions and how we do it in our daily lives. What you're going to do now is you're going to continue with the module. There is going to be an area where you can practice drawing conclusions with text, like when we read, but there's also going to be a section where you can draw conclusions with pictures and with what you know from real life. Remember, when you draw a conclusion, you take what you know from the story, what the text tells you, and what you already know from real life. You put those things together and you try to make a really good, educated guess about what's going on. Enjoy your module and have fun.